comes first, Christianity or culture?
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
So first up for trending topics, I saw this, and I feel like this is an ongoing debate, but I saw this woman post on her TikTok this semi-long message, but I want to read the whole thing so we can fully encapsulate what her point was. She said, something I'm not afraid to admit as a Christian and a Black woman. Our skin color should not be an idol. Our ancestors suffered because we live in a fallen world, so racism became one of the biggest tactics of the enemy, which is why so many Black people are leaning away from the Bible, which they call white man's religion, and getting into African spirituality, which is not of the one true God of Abraham. Our ancestors suffered, but Jesus got us all out of bondage by his blood. You can't worship God in your skin color. Your true identity lies in Christ. And then someone commented on that video saying, our ancestors were worshiping false gods and practicing witchcraft, sacrifice, and all manners of wickedness. Slavery was a punishment and also delivered us from out under that and on the path of Christ. And the original creator said that. Now that is what I also agree with. So what do you think? Do you consider yourself a Christian before you're a Black woman, or a Black woman before you're a Christian? How, as Black people, do we navigate the concept of Christianity sometimes being considered a white man's religion and connecting with our ancestors and our history in Africa without going into things that people may or may not deem as demonic or anti-Christian in a certain type of way?
I disagree with most of what was read, but the part that I do agree with is, for me, my Christianity comes before my color. And that is because my color can't save me. So I'm a Christian first, Black second, a woman third. Like, that's the hierarchy for me. Christian first, Black second, woman third. And that's kind of how I navigate the world. What saddens me is that there are so many Black people that don't know, they're practicing a religion that they don't know anything about. Like, they're doing it out of tradition, but don't have any history. And not to say I'm a historian, not to say I'm an expert in theology, I am not. But from my understanding, and I have read the Bible from cover to cover. That was one of my goals to do as a Christian. I wanted to read the Bible. Not gonna lie, I skipped over that begatting and the carrying on, like I didn't read all of that. You know, I kind of skimmed that. But like what I felt like were the most important things I did read. I definitely read the whole New Testament, read the Old Testament, like I said, skipped over some of the stuff that was just, telling you who begat who or whatever. One of the misconceptions is that Christianity is a white person's religion. White people hijacked Christianity in a certain kind of way. They manipulated Christianity in a certain kind of way, but Christianity is not a white person's religion. And when people make comments about white Jesus, I want to lay hands on them, and not in a Christian way, because Jesus was not white. Jesus was a Middle Easterner. Jesus was of color. He wasn't Black. He wasn't white. I like to believe that he was somewhere in between. To say that we got brought to the U.S. or to the Americas and then got brainwashed with Christianity, there were people in Africa and the Middle East practicing Christianity. That's where it originated. That's where it was. And like I said, true, it was manipulated, and slave owners manipulated it, and people that wanted to oppress us manipulated it. But I always have had the mind that you cannot hold God responsible for the things that man lies about and that man manipulates. So I agree with some of what was said, but I disagree with some of the other things that were said.
I mean, the main thing I disagree with is the idea that Black people were being punished for just doing basic traditions and minding their own business on a continent.
Yeah.
That to me is insane. And like you said, we didn't have to become enslaved people in order to find Christ, because Christ was already where we were at. Like, that's not, that was an unnecessary step. And also, like you said, people misuse Christianity all the time. Just because someone calls themselves a Christian doesn't mean that they really have Jesus in their heart. That's not how that works. You have to act like you are, saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Spirit. So I feel like their whole point is very misguided. It's very, dare I say, pick me. it's very like, you know, kind of leaning towards
this whole saying slavery somehow was a gift to black people or saved us from something. Now, also people need to recognize black people in America are not the first people to have experienced slavery. In the Bible, the children of Israel literally had to be led out of bondage by Moses. But slavery in America is unique in that it was based on
slavery,
skin color and culture versus other places where it was based on hierarchy
or
other places
or merit or crime.
Yeah, other places you could work your way out of slavery. There were different aspects to other forms of slavery. In the United States, it was purely race-based, and it was also the only or one of the few places where slavery was considered to be a permanent condition, where other forms of slavery,
a permanent condition that could follow your entire lineage.
And that you know, that's why it was referred to as a peculiar institution if you look at it, because it was you were a slave for life. Other places you might have been taken captive in a war. You may have been an indentured servant or something of that kind. And you could work your way out of it. It was never meant to be, and it was never meant to be an enduring situation. So like that whole slavery was good for black people because if it wasn't for that, we would have still been in Africa worshiping false gods. That's crap. That's crap.
Also, I feel like as Christians,
or as the kids say, that's cap. Anyway,
I feel like as Christians, we really, and this is coming from the perspective of someone that has friends that aren't Christian and a lot of friends that aren't Christian, we have to be careful about demonizing everything that's not Christianity.
Yeah.
Because just because someone chooses to follow a specific tradition from their culture or they're not Christian, that doesn't make them a morally bad person. That doesn't make them like destined to go to hell. You can choose not to participate in activities as a Christian and be convicted by your faith in that. But you don't have to say everything is demonic and everybody going to hell and, oh, this is so terrible. And like, you can't. And also, I feel like you have to take your lens off of things sometimes and recognize if you grew up believing in this and your whole family believes in this and you grew up in this culture, there's no way in the world someone could convince me not to be a Christian, because that's what I grew up on. That's what I believe in. That's where my faith is. And the same can be applied to every other religion and every other belief system, because that's what their culture is. And culture and religion kind of go hand in hand in a certain type of way. There's a difference between how Black Americans practice Christianity and how Africans might practice Christianity or how Europeans might practice Christianity. So I feel like the whole us versus them and we're so much better than these other people, you can believe that we're going to make it to heaven because of what we believe in and possibly believe that other people aren't, without making it seem like you're so superior and so holier than thou.
In its purest form, Christianity is to be Christ-like. Okay, so I know it's going to be a lot of super saints that want to come for me, but bring it. So there are so many people that practice other religions or don't practice religion at all that are more Christ-like than people that want to scream Christianity. So I have always chosen to believe, and God will deal with me if I'm wrong. I'm not worried about what people think. I have always chosen to believe that God is only going to hold you responsible for the knowledge that you have. For example, a child that is raised as a non-Christian, I won't even put a religion in there because I don't want to insult anybody. A child is raised non-Christian, and that's all they were ever taught. That's all they were ever given the opportunity to know. I feel like a God of love is going to weigh that on the scale in a different way than someone that has had the opportunity to be informed or that made a choice, made an informed decision not to be a Christian. So I just feel like a lot of people need to stop being super saints and being so heavenly minded they're no earthly good. Calm down. And if you act like Christ, if you represent Christ well, then you're going to lead more people to Christianity than if you sitting up
and
judging
I
people.
argue that it is very hard to convince someone that they should join a religion that so many people use with complete ill intentions.
Yeah.
You can't, like, if I'm looking on the outside, you can't convince me to be a Christian if you're, being a super racist person or a super sexist person, like the things that are not good, you're still holding on to your Christian values
and cherry
making
picking.
tradition and your belief system Christian values when that wasn't nowhere in the Bible.
Yeah, those ones that want to cherry pick and use it to subjugate women. You know, women should be silent in the church and all this hullabaloo that they go through. It's bastardizing the Bible.
Yeah.
It's taking the Bible, and whenever you take the Bible and supposedly the teachings of Christ and weaponize it against people, that is the most un-Christ-like thing you can do. And I love when it's this sin is going to send you to hell, but all the ones that I was doing, God has forgiven me. God is going to give me grace for mine, but yours is terrible. And I do agree that from a human perspective, there are big and small sins. And what I mean by that is, okay, telling a lie, that's a sin. It's the same as any other sin. But telling a lie, okay, we put you over here. Murdering somebody, raping somebody, molesting a child, that goes over there. So to me, there are some sins that we deal with as humans and we exact punishment. There's other sins we need to send you to be with Jesus. He needs to talk to you. Jesus is calling, he needs to talk to you. So like even with that, you know, it's hard to walk a Christian walk, but if any of us were perfect, then Jesus wouldn't have been necessary. So all of that, you know, it's a lot, but I hate when people try to weaponize it. Please do not talk crazy to me about worshiping a white Jesus. My Jesus is not white. Thank you very much. That's just where it is for me.
And I kind of do agree with the girl that posted the video in terms of like you can't idolize your race, but there's a difference between idolizing your race and recognizing living in the human world, especially in a specific country, of the differences between different races and recognizing that, and also being proud of your culture and your upbringing. There's a difference between recognizing that and idolizing it. I feel like a lot of these holier than thou Christians love to throw, oh, you're idolizing this, and it's just like, girl, calm down. It's really not that serious. I can be like Black Power, Black Pride, and still read my Bible. Like the two things almost don't have anything to do with each other.
Yeah, I think the only time that being proud of your race, the only time that putting race first is a problem is if you're putting your race first at the expense of other people. As long as you are just being proud to walk in the skin and the shoes that you're in, there is nothing wrong with that. Also recognize that other people have the same right to be proud of who they are. I think the diversity and the mixture of cultures is what makes a great society. When you got somebody, you having the friend group that you have that is so diverse is very eye-opening. And it also kind of keeps you more than me, because you're with them more than me, but it keeps you from always seeing something from one point of view, because you can kind of get in a rut and start doing that kind of thing.
It forces you to pay attention to when other groups of people might be getting persecuted that wouldn't have anything to do with you. But now you're thinking, oh, but you know what? My friend is a part of that group. So actually, I do need to care about that issue and know what's going on in the world. So I don't know. I feel like you should be proud of who you are while also being very receptive to being in diverse spaces and to dealing with diverse groups. I feel like any group that makes you alienate yourself and says, oh, this person is bad, you can't talk to them, that's probably a sign that you're in the wrong.
Any religion that does not stand up to question is not worth practicing. If somebody can destroy my faith or destroy my religion by asking a question, then my religion has a problem. My faith has a problem. If them just questioning, because questioning the faith is hopefully going to be productive and lead to a positive result. But if I can't stand for somebody to question what I believe in, then that might mean that I'm kind of shaky on my belief.
And some people might come for me for this, but I also feel like it's not your job to be missionary 101 when you're
unless you are a missionary.
I'll argue that I don't even like the concept of missionary, but that's a whole other topic.
That's where we will part ways, because I feel like there needs to be those people that take the word to the world. But I also don't think that you should do that.
I feel like you should do that in a way that's not causing cultural erasure and making people uncomfortable in their own homeland. So that's a whole other conversation.
Well, Christianity itself has a lot of that, in that a lot of Christian practices were not Christian practices, but they became Christian practices so that people would become Christian. And I hope that there's a lot of things that we do as Christians, Christian holidays that were not Christian specific,
But
but
that's not what we talking
in
about.
order to convert people, they embraced the people, the crusaders and stuff. They embraced certain things so that the people would be more accepting.
But I
of
mean, they still kind of
Christianity.
did that in an attempt to manipulate people into
Well, they
becoming
did.
Christians.
They did. They had
so it still
ulterior
goes back to
motives,
my point
but-
of cultural erasure and
Yeah,
forcing people
yeah.
to believe something that they
I
might not want
think,
to
well,
believe
the
in.
thing is, and I'm not always good at it, but if you lead with love.
But
You
but
lead with
specifically
love.
to me, I feel like I have been in situations where people have tried to convert me, and it's been like, girl, can you just chill and like, can we just go get
Yeah.
dinner? Like, it's not that
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
So I feel like as Christians, you're supposed to be an example, and if someone is curious, then you lead them to God and have them follow their own
Yeah.
path. But there's no planet on earth where I'm going to go to my non-Christian friends every day and be like, you know, your life would be better if you follow Jesus.
Lead
It's
by
just
example,
like,
not with words.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
just
lead by-
like
let them
you need to
see-
respect other people.
I feel like, okay, this might seem like I'm bragging, but I feel like our lives is that, or our lives are that, whatever. Anyway, I feel like you and I both have led very charmed lives in a certain kind of way. Have we had pitfalls and things? And yes, we have. But being African American, and in our case specifically being female, we have lived a very blessed life. And every time something good happens to you, what do I say? Because my grandma sent up some timber before you got here. Like, I really do feel like the prayers and the things that my grandmother, my mother, my great grandma, that they prayed before you were even born are the reason why your life has gone as well as it has gone. And you don't want me to tell the story, but I will tell the story that before you were born, the one and only time, and this is going to be controversial.
when did I say you couldn't tell the
I'm just
story?
saying, that was being.
Oh, I was like, yeah,
No,
I don't care.
but the one and only time that I experienced what I would say was a direct supernatural experience was praying over you. And I always thought that people that said they spoke in tongues were just like faking a little bit. Like, I'm like, is that for real? It sounds like gibberish or whatever. But I prayed a holy prayer over you when you were a baby that I to this day don't know what I said. I don't know, like, I literally heard myself, felt my mouth moving, don't know what I said, but I prayed that prayer over you, and every time something good happens in your life, I just say, check, that was a part of that prayer. I don't know what part, but that was a part of that
Now
prayer.
you know people
Now,
gonna be like, she
so
didn't speak in
people
tongues.
can believe or not believe whatever they want to, but I feel like you're living proof, I'm living proof that prayer works and there is a God, because like I said, I'm not gonna try to lie to I'm not fooling myself. I literally had a supernatural experience because I was praying for you and because I surrendered myself to God, and I really do think it works. So y'all can believe whatever you
Well,
want.
at the end of the day, let people do what they want to do, but we can keep culture and Christianity as two separate conversations
Yeah.
because both
Yeah.
can coexist peacefully without there being issues.
Yeah.
But moving on to happier subjects, let me put y'all on. I was racking my brain trying to think what we could put people on to, and you were just like, oh, didn't you just go on a fun trip? And I was like, oh, yeah, I can talk about that.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to experience it, but you
Not
will.
yet.
But I recently went to Epic Universe, and I feel like there's been a lot of discourse online of whether it's worth it, how it compares to other theme parks, what the experience is like. So I'm here to answer all of y'all's burning questions. But I thought it was the best theme park. I mean,
And that's big praise coming from somebody that's been a Disney adult.
I've been to Disney World, Disneyland, Six Flags, Busch Gardens, Universal Hollywood. Like, I've been to hella theme parks. And I felt like, I've been to Knott's Berry Farm. I felt like this was the best theme park in terms of, I'm a sucker for a good theme and a cute outfit to match the theme. So I feel like that was really well done in terms, like the whole concept of Epic Universe is that each section is based on either movies or like a theme of movies. Like there's a dark universe where it's all of Universal's monsters and everything like spooky ooky. And then there's like Super Mario Land where it's like all the Mario characters. There's How to Train Your Dragon Land. There's a Harry Potter world. And all of it is very well done in terms of you're fully immersed in the movie. There's so many cute photo opportunities. Have y'all outfits ready because there's a lot of cute opportunities for photos. The only issues that I noticed were just wait times, but that's just it's new. So you're gonna have long wait times. But the rides, very high tech, very different than a lot of the stuff that you see at other theme parks. My favorite ride was Stardust Racers. I know Right now it's closed because unfortunately somebody did pass away.
Yeah, there's nothing scarier than
The-
knowing your child just was on
Well-
a ride and then hearing
Well,
that there
imagine
was
my
an accident.
surprise when me and my boyfriend get in line. It was a weather delay. We finally get on the ride. We ride it. The next day, everyone starts sending us videos and posts about how someone passed away on the ride, and we were just like, to me, I feel like I don't know this for a fact, so nobody sue me for defamation. But I think he had like health issues prior to getting on,
not.
because the ride itself, like, I don't see how anyone could get injured unless they were like,
But something I said to you is it may have been the specific seat that he was in.
I still don't think that is possible.
There's definitely a different experience depending on your positioning on the ride. Everybody knows some people like the front, some people like the back. So maybe wherever he was sitting was specifically a problem. I don't know. It was
I
unfortunate.
find that hard to believe just because like the way that the ride works and like the force or the G-force, I don't know, I'm not an engineer or one of those people, but like there is no movement for any of this. Like you're just looking straight and
you
you're
only
just
know that though for your ride is what I'm saying. Like you only know that for your ride.
All I'm
or
saying
for
is,
the seat that you rode in
all
on the
I'm
ride.
saying is that was my favorite ride, but right now it's closed.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll reopen it. Hopefully, if there were no issues and this was just like a fluky accident. We were obviously both fine and unscathed after.
Yeah, if that had happened before I knew you had already done that, honey.
Well, the ride was closed.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I had heard that, knowing that you were over there, I would have been burning up I-4.
Well, anyway, the Monsters Unchained ride, arguably the best ride, even though it's very underrated. Everyone says the Harry Potter ride is the best ride, but Monsters Unchained definitely best ride. And the good thing is when you go, you'll actually be able to get on a lot of stuff because it's not all roller coasters because you're very anti-roller coaster. Yeah. It's a lot of like simulated, but also it's not just you sit, look at a screen. It's very like you're actually moving around and you're seeing stuff, and all the rides are fairly long. So you feel like you have waited for something. But the real gag is the food was amazing. Really? Like theme park food, I hate, as many theme parks as I've gone to, I usually hate theme park food.
There's only a handful of things that most
There's not, like, I love Dole Whip at Disney and I love Butterbeer at Universal and all that type of stuff, but usually the food is very meh. It's mid at best. But at Epic, it's like restaurant. At least the places that we ate at, you gotta try the purple pizza from Pizza Moon. It was amazing. You gotta try the smoothies from, I forget what it's called. It's like it's the restaurant that's right next to Yoshi's ride. Green apple honeydew smoothie, which I hate honeydew, but that was real good. Mango smoothie, and then we also got barbecue from Oaken Tavern, which is in like the center of the park. All great options, and they were also pretty affordable. And if you're an annual pass holder, you get discounts because we did end up getting annual passes, which are not available for Epic, but hopefully they will be soon. But anyway, that concludes my nerd theme park talk.
That she has hopefully
answered some
put
questions
everybody
for people.
on to.
Now it is a little expensive because one day was $143. So
it's going to be that. I mean, that's kind of average-ish for.
It's pretty average
for the major theme parks.
Just make sure that if you are thinking about getting an annual pass, you get your annual pass and then you go to the ticket booth and get your discounted ticket. Yeah. Because that way you can save. I think we saved maybe like $20, $30 by doing it that way because you get like 15% off roughly. And you also get free parking at Epic as an annual pass holder, and you get discounts on all the food and I think some of the merchandise. So it just makes more sense if you were considering that as an option. But moving on to something I wouldn't consider as an option. What had happened was, I saw this video when it was at like a couple thousand views, and I saved it because I knew it was going to reach millions because I thought it was very controversial. Some people were saying it wasn't. But it was a video of this woman recording her husband, who is the stepfather to her little baby, which I was thinking, you work fast, man, because that baby was small. But anyway, stepfather to her baby. So she records the video thinking, look, my daughter gets along so well with her stepdad. But in the video, he kisses the female child's baby on the lips. And then in the video, he kind of has a little like lip bite action after that people were seeing and saying like, oh, hold on now. And then later on, when I stalked her page to see like, oh, are you one of the people that just like, finds a little smooch on the lips with your kid's normal? she also had photos with her son kissing him on the lips. And people were arguing about whether it was inappropriate, whether it was appropriate, whether it was just like parental love and very normal, or whether it was something that like, get CPS on the phone now. So as a parent, do you think that that is normal behavior, or do you think that, you know, somebody needs to be knocking on her door?
I don't know this lady. I will never meet this lady. So that's proof that I could never harm this lady. Because what I'm about to say is I want to choke her. I want to choke her. Number one, you shouldn't be, I mean, you do whatever you want to, but I feel like if you are an adult and it is a child, you shouldn't be kissing them on the lips, especially if you are a sexually active adult. You're kissing and doing whatever with somebody else. You should not be kissing a child on the lip because the child cannot give consent. That's the first part. Like your partner, they can give consent for you to kiss them. A child cannot give consent, so I don't think you should be kissing them on the lip, even if it's your own child. I've never been that person. Some people be like, oh, you know, it's you. If I love my baby, do that with your baby. That's your business. That's your grown business. But second part, if that man is not the biological father of those children, that's an especially big no-no, especially opposite sex children. He shouldn't even want to be kissing the baby on the lips if he's not the biological father. And if I was the biological father, furniture would be moving. Furniture would be moving, tables would be being flipped, because why you letting him kiss? You don't know if people think they know people, and we have lived in it long enough, most of us, to know you do not know people. You don't know if that man has ulterior motives. Now, clearly she wouldn't be with a man that she suspected was a danger to her kids. I get that. But that baby can't give consent. You love him. You like that baby may grow up and can't even stand him. You should not be letting someone kiss your child, because that child may end up paying for that somehow. I don't like that.
The cleanliness
I don't like
portion
that.
of it.
I don't like it.
To me, I always found kissing your kid on the lips to just be weird. Like, why are you kissing on the lips?
People
like,
do it.
I feel like you can kiss on the cheek, you kiss on the hand,
the forehead,
you kiss on the little feet. You know, like to me, all that is normal, and this is just my personal preference. I'm not kissing my kid on the lips.
My grandmother, who was very progressive, I realized as I got older how progressive she was. She never kissed us. As much as she loved us, hug us, she would never kiss us on the lips. And I think she even avoided kissing us on the face, because she's like, you know, that's Jeremy. Like, she never would do that. Yeah. She kissed the babies on the arm, whatever, which I personally didn't want anybody kissing you at all. Like, I was like, don't put your mouth on my baby, because I don't know where your mouth being. And people thought I was being extra for that, but no, ma'am. If you kiss somebody's baby, I've seen too many posts about people whose children got deathly ill because somebody with a cold sore kissed them. Now, a cold sore is not going to kill an adult, but it is very dangerous for a baby. And because you don't know, like you don't know those days before that cold sore erupts, you should not be kissing anybody's child.
It's just not, it will never be my first instinct to go up to a baby. Like, I love my cousins to death. Never once have I even kissed them on the cheek. Like, it's just, to me, it just feels unnecessary. And I feel like you can't really respect a child's personal space because you don't know what their boundaries are.
They don't know what their boundaries are.
So I feel like even with my cousins now, like unless they initiate a hug, I'm not gonna force them to give me a hug because maybe they don't want to touch me.
A couple things that kind of go off the subject, but still in the ballpark. You should never say to your child, especially when it's a stranger or somebody that they don't initiate it with, go give so-and-so a hug. Don't do that. Because children don't know how to differentiate when that's okay and when it's not okay. Yeah. So if you're continually encouraging them to hug somebody that they just met or that they don't know or that they seem to be a little bit uncomfortable hugging, when somebody does that forcibly when you're not around, they may not be able to differentiate and know that that's not okay. So I never made you hug people, give some. I never played those games. I will, an example, my ex-brother-in-law who has passed away, sweetest person, one of the sweetest people you will ever meet, but he was heavyset. And when you were little, you were very shy and timid anyway, but you were afraid of him because of his size. And I can remember your other parent and I getting into a heated debate because it hurt your uncle's feelings that you were afraid of him.
I don't even remember this.
I do, but it hurt his feelings because you were afraid of him. So your dad was trying to I was like, no. I know it hurts his feelings But he's an adult. He's going to have to get over it. You're not going to traumatize my child to spare the
And I was pretty
the
much
feelings
like that
of
with
an adult.
any, like,
and
random
then
man.
also the other part of that was you were afraid of my brother. You were afraid of everybody. So he was particularly sensitive because of his size and stuff. But I was like, you're not going to traumatize my child to spare the feelings of an adult. And I explained to him, well, she's like that with everybody, whatever. But never did I ever put an adult's feelings ahead of your safety or your well-being. The other thing I will say is stop walking up touching people's children's hands, grabbing the hands of a baby. Baby's hands go from everywhere to straight to the mouth, everywhere. So I wouldn't even let people touch your hands when you were small.
I love kids is a stretch.
Yeah.
I love kids.
Like kids.
I love kids that I personally know.
No.
I don't just like random. I don't like. I don't.
They can be cute.
Yeah, I don't care about your random child. I mean, like I care about kids in general, but like in terms
not
of like
enough
wanting
to wanna
hold
engage
them
with
and
them,
engage
yeah.
with, like I don't care that much. I'm not one of those like, oh, I love babies. I love the babies that I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, even with like distant family members' kids or like my boyfriend's nephew, I'm never going to overstep in terms of like just picking them up and hugging them and like being super touchy and physical with them because they might not be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not their mom. I'm not their parent, especially if I'm not actually blood related to them. I'm not going to take that extra step until I get the okay from a parent or the kid comes up to me and is very friendly to me and like is receptive to that type of stuff.
I'm going to ask, if I'm talking to somebody or dealing with somebody and I don't know them well, if they don't offer, like, would you like to hold the baby? And a lot of times I might say no, like I don't feel comfortable holding it, depending on the circumstances. But unless they offer, do you want to hold the baby, even if it's a relative? I'm not walking in a room and assuming I can pick your child up. I can remember we were at, it was Lowry Park Zoo then, it's Zoo Tampa now, but we were at the park for like a media event, and Dia Riley, who works at, I think, ABC Action News, she was there with her twins. And I knew her because we were Facebook friends, and like we had some interactions online, I think, but like I'd never met her in person like that, especially with her kids. And one of her daughters, I'm saying they're twins, I think they're twins, if not, they look like twins, but one of them just ran up and hugged me. And at first I froze because like my instinct wasn't to hug her back.
Yeah.
I looked at the parents because Dia was with her husband.
Yeah.
I looked at the parents to see what their reaction were, and they were smiling, almost encouraging. So because she was being so sweet, I hugged her. But I would never have walked up to her with her kids and been like, give me a hug. Like, no, like you don't do that. That's overstepping. And it also sends the wrong message to kids that adults can just walk up and touch them.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. I think the whole kissing the kids on the lips thing is just like, to me, that's common sense. If I just know, like, there's no.
The kissing on the mouth.
No. But as we know from the last episode, I'm also very germophobic in terms of I don't like, all of that type of stuff. I feel like even giving kids food, like if a parent is nearby.
You don't give people's children food. What if
a
got
parent
an
or
allergy?
whoever is watching the child, I'm going to be like, can I give them a
they
fry?
ask,
They want something, I'm going to give them something to drink. Like, I'm announcing what I'm doing.
You have to get permission because that's very dangerous. A kid can have, and a little kid doesn't know they're not supposed to have stuff, or sometimes a little kid will know they're not supposed to have something they want anyway.
Even as close as I am to my cousins, I'm not just gonna give them something. Like if I know, okay, they normally have this, then
like
I might just go ahead and give it to them. But the other day, your little nephew, who's just out of hand, he decides he's gonna get a chair and get a Slim Jim, which I don't know who started the Slim Jim
He
stuff.
loves Slim Jim.
But he's gonna get a Slim Jim. So instead of just helping him do it, I go and I find his mom and dad. Hey, he wants a Slim Jim.
Can he
And then
have
his mom said, well, I don't think you should be having a Slim Jim. Okay, let's put the chair back. You're not getting a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
We'll try to distract you with something else. But even like babysitting them, I'm not just gonna. I'm gonna be like, did you have this before? Do you like this? What do you want to eat? What are you comfortable doing? Like I feel like
until a child is able to communicate rationally, I'm always gonna default to asking the parent. Investigating, not just doing something.
I'm not going to go to jail. Absolutely not.
You could do great harm to a child if you give them something that they shouldn't have. Like, no, I
feel like that just comes with having like natural paternal instincts. I guess.
Maternal.
No, I mean paternal in terms of like, but I feel like a man should also have common sense too. But like just natural parenting instincts.
And then if you are not used to being around kids, for instance, one of your cousins spending the night. And we were eating cherries, fresh cherries. And me, having mother's instinct, thought about it. It's like, hey, Imari, don't ever give her or any child a cherry because they got pits in them, and some kids think that because they look like a grape or a blueberry that they can just pop them in their mouth and eat them. And you said, I would have never thought of that, and I said, I know. That is why
I would have been
choking because she said she had never had a fresh cherry. You didn't know. So like I always try to preemptively
I feel like as a young
things.
person who hasn't had kids yet, like there's so much that little kids don't know is appropriate, don't know how to eat, don't know how to do, that I naturally assume that they would know how to.
Let me throw this out there. If it can't fit in one of the small medicine bottles that you get from the pharmacy, like if you take something and you drop it in there and it can get stuck or it's a tight fit, a kid should not have it. Like if you give them grapes, you need to slice them up. It can get lodged in their throat. There are so many things that people that don't have kids don't know so it's dangerous. Don't just hand somebody's child something to eat because you don't know what they might do.
Speaking of kids eating, this was a debate on social media, and I thought this was interesting just because you weren't necessarily this type of parent. Someone said, do you agree that telling children to eat what you cook or not eat at all is child abuse? And I will say that you never made me eat things that I didn't want to eat. Number one, I wasn't a difficult child, and I would eat like fruits and vegetables, and like I would eat most things. But I was semi-picky about certain stuff.
For a long time.
If I expressed that I did not like whatever the thing was, you didn't just force me to eat it, regardless.
No, and that's somewhat due to your grandfather because he said he hated growing up and being made to eat things that he didn't like. So when he had kids, he swore he wasn't gonna do that. His thing was, if you wanted something else, number one, was it in the house already?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to get something else. Number two, can you fix it yourself? Because nobody's cooking a whole separate meal for you. So that was kind of what I grew up with. Is it in the house? Can you fix it yourself? And is it reasonably healthy? Like you're not going to eat ice cream for dinner or anything like that. But his thing was, as long as there was an alternative that was a reasonable alternative, he liked what he liked and he was an adult, but kids got taste buds and they like what they like too.
And you also always ask me what I want you to cook for dinner.
And
like
I would
let me have the option.
I don't like parents that let kids just make decisions. I don't like parents that make all the decisions. I believe in offering some alternatives. Here are your options. Pick from this. And if you got a suggestion of something different, suggest it. Even when you're dealing with little kids, let them feel like they're having some say-so in it and they'll receive it better. But here are some options. You can have this, or I might say to you, you have to have a vegetable with what you're eating. What vegetable do you want?
But I will say it was also easier for you because you were a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. I was an only child and we weren't struggling with money.
You were very much catered to.
So we had the option of, you could just ask me what I wanted to eat. And that was just that. And we would just be able to go to the store and get it. I feel like for a lot of parents, they have multiple kids to where I gotta make spaghetti 3 nights in a row because I don't have time to be fooled up with what every kid wants. Or they're struggling financially, so they gotta get something that's cheap and easy.
But I will say though, if a family is struggling financially, those kids tend to be less picky anyway because they're not used to being able to choose. I can remember that was one time when your grandfather was a lot more lenient than your mom or your grandmother. She hated for him to go with us to the grocery store. And we love for him to go with us to the grocery store.
Just get whatever.
Because and stuff that she would normally say no to, why they can't have that? I work every day. My kid, I like tricks. Hey, what kind of cereal you want? She hated that because like when we would go with just her, it was get cereal. Y'all get together, decide what cereal y'all want. When Dad went, we might come with 3-4 boxes of cereal because his thing was he had to suffer and do without things growing up. We were not suffering and doing without stuff, and we did abuse that a little bit. I think though, as long as you're financially able to do it, give them some alternatives and then pick within that. Now, if they want to pick outside of that, that's when it becomes.
But I would say it's not child abuse to say just eat
what we got. No, it's not child abuse.
Because sometimes it's just that,
or they may dietarily, they may need certain things.
Or it might be a situation where when I was little, you weren't working. If I'm going to work every day and my husband going to work every day, we don't have time to be worried about 5 different orders. We're not going back and forth. We're not eating. But I will say, I am a big proponent of, like me and my boyfriend do this, and we just did this last night. I want a Chick-fil-A. He didn't want Chick-fil-A. He wanted Domino's. We stopped at Chick-fil-A and we
And
stopped at
stopped at
Domino's.
The car can
because
go
the
two
car can
places.
go multiple places.
It can go.
So
look
especially
there.
when it comes to fast food, you don't have to like get what everyone else gets if you want something different within
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
And the same could be said for cooking. Like if it's, oh, you wanted baked chicken, but I'm making fried chicken. Well, I'm also baking green beans. I could just throw some chicken in the oven. You know? So
like,
it's
yeah.
just,
Things. Sometimes I think there's these people that because they're the parent and because I said so. I try not to be a because I said so parent. There were certain things because I said so, but for the most part, I tried to be reasonable and think, how would I want to be treated, child or not?
yeah,
adult
you
or
always
not?
let me vocalize
Like what do
my
you want?
preferences.
And I would always let you know. You may or may not be able. Even now that you're an adult still living at home, if you call me and ask me what did you cook, I'll tell you. I cook blah, 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 eat it or leave it. You got a car, you got money, go get something else.
Yeah.
Or if you know, I might say to you, you may or may not get what you want, but what would you like to have for dinner? Just so that I can get some ideas. If I can get something that we both want or cook something that we both want, great. If not, you on your own.
And now it's kind of the same thing where I'm not necessarily cooking like that because I generally don't have time to. But if I'm getting something when I'm home from work, then like I'll also give you an option of like, I really don't know what I want to eat. Like I'm gonna bring something.
Yeah.
And
It's
it just
lovely
works.
being able to have you call and say, hey, did you cook? Well, I'm gonna get blah, blah, blah. Do you want it? It's not that hard. You have to operate within your financial capability and even sometimes your mental capability. Because as a mom who was a work from home mom, who was with you all the time, I would get burnt out. So I can't imagine how hard it is for women that go and work all day.
Not having
and
kids
then
and still living
come
at home, I'm tired. So I can only
and
imagine.
still come home. And I resent that for a lot of Americans. They think that the woman is supposed to be doing all of that, whether she works or not. Very few people would expect for a man who works outside of the home to come home. Well, I shouldn't say very few because it's getting better. But for a long time, traditionally, people felt like if a man worked outside of the home and the woman also works outside of the home, it was still her responsibility to do the household
we both
stuff.
getting in the kitchen.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. If we both working, we both cooking, we both cleaning, we both washing, we both doing everything. If you want me to be a trad wife, then you need to sit me at home so I can be that. Because otherwise, bro, you're going to have to make your own meals sometimes. You're going to have to do your own stuff sometimes.
Wife.
Yeah. I'm perfectly willing to embrace being a trad, not wife at this point in my life. I'm willing to be traditional. But traditional means you're doing the part that you're supposed to do. And that means making it easy for me to be able to cater to you.
I'd rather us both work and we do 50-50 at
well,
home.
look, I'm a senior citizen. I'm ready for somebody to tell me I want to do all of these things for you, and then you take care of me, I'll take care of you.
Yeah,
I'm fine
but then
with
you're
that.
dependent on a man.
They're never going to be
financially.
dependent. Now, you know,
Well, if you don't
Think
have a
about who you're
job, then
talking
you're
to.
going to be dependent on a man financially.
I'm not saying quit my job. I'm
Well,
just
then
saying.
how are you gonna be traditional?
I'm saying if he is the type of person that likes for me to cook, then he needs to be the type of person that provides the food for me to cook. If he's the type of person, I mean, you don't have to be married. You can be in a relationship. Like if I were in a relationship with somebody and they like my cooking, I'm never buying the food. Like
Well,
I'm not
no,
buying
that's
the food.
just
Like you, or I shouldn't say never. If he has certain things he wants me to cook, he's gonna have to provide that. Now, if I'm cooking at my house and you're there, you want to eat, of course you're gonna eat. But I'm just saying, you can't want me to help pay for and always be the preparer. You can't expect that from me. You can't do that.
Guys, I feel like a lot of guys nowadays know how to cook for themselves anyway. So
they
it's not
should. If you can,
like
I'm a firm believer. If you know how to eat, you need to know how to cook. I don't care what gender,
Which
race,
is crazy
whatever.
because growing up, I thought like men just didn't know how to do stuff like that because it wasn't modeled for me. Like I was just like, oh, guys just don't know how to cook. And then as I got older, I'm just like, oh, there's like a lot of men that actually
Well, that's
cook.
because I was a work from home. Notice I never just say stay at home. I was a work from home mom, and I did not mind doing. I was a domestic goddess. Like I didn't mind
my
cooking.
Lord.
I'm telling you, I didn't mind cooking, cleaning, doing the grocery shop. Like I didn't mind doing that because I was not working outside of the house.
I hate cleaning and
he
I don't really
was.
enjoy cooking.
I don't enjoy it, but I also don't.
I mean, I'll do
want
it.
my house not to be clean. So like, I didn't mind doing any of that as long as he was making it easy for me to do. I had no problem doing that, and it didn't end well. But he enjoyed me being there all the time because that man didn't know what it was to do certain things because I did it. Like I did it. I took care of the house. I did that. So, I mean, and I didn't mind at that time doing it, but I also didn't let him talk crazy to me. just because I was not working outside the home, because clearly I'm highly intelligent and capable of taking care of myself. I'm doing it now. But like, you know, don't talk crazy to me because I'm not working outside the house, because we agreed as a couple that I would work from home and take care of you, and that's what I did. So I've done both. When I first got married, I was working outside the house, and then when I got married, first 10 years, I continued to work outside the house, but we both agreed that the best thing for you was to be in my care because we didn't trust other people. So I traded my retirement, which would have been this year, as a matter of fact. I traded all of that to make sure that you were well taken care of. And look at how well that worked out.
I'm glad you did it. I won't be doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Gemini Gems.
Okay, you want to go first?
You forgot, didn't you?
No, I didn't forget. I know them. I know them. Which one do you want to do? I'm gonna let you go first because you can pick the one you want to do. But I do know them this time.
I'll do the first one. So basically, we had this struggle yesterday because you made a salad and then I needed salad dressing, and the salad dressing was getting a little low. Mm-hmm. And you suggested for vinegary-based salad dressings, you can always add a little bit more vinegar to like your balsamic vinaigrette or your Italian dressing or whatever to stretch it a little bit, mm-hmm. and then olive oil to your like thicker dressings like Thousand Island, which obviously can be helpful in a pinch, especially like if you went to a restaurant or like you're on your lunch break or something. Well, that wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work for lunch
Never
break.
mind. Ignore me.
But you can stretch your salad dressing by adding olive oil. If it's a creamy way.
For the record, I work in a place where we would have vinegar and olive oil, but that doesn't.
And we rarely. It wasn't. And let me say this, because I don't believe in running out of stuff. We weren't out of salad dressing. It was just a particular kind of salad dressing.
Yeah, we were running low on Thousand Island,
which, by the way, is restocked today. That was yesterday. It's already restocked. Or that was Thursday. But anyway, I don't believe in running out of stuff at my house. I'm gonna have multiple of most things, but. My Gemini gem, if you are a person that likes to have sweets in the house, you like to bake, but you're not a baker like that, and you use box cake mixes, if you want it to be more like a Publix cake or, you know, a little bit fancier cake in terms of the texture and the quality, add an extra egg to the batter, and it will make it a little bit fluffier. It will add a little bit more fat to the batter and make it a little bit more I don't want to say restaurant quality, but it will taste less like a box cake mix if you add an extra egg to it.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Well, with all that being said, I'm very hungry. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Period.